It's a pleasure really to be here tonight. I just want to thank Andy. I want to thank Zlata, where is she? She's worked, I know, so hard. And I'm really pleased and honored to have been asked to participate in this first annual Blue Gala dinner. I also want to say thank you to Mary Helen for her courage. It takes a lot to put yourself out there, and I know that you've done it. JR has done it. A number of other people, of course, folks elected. But we need people. We need good Democrats to be out there. You know, even if it's a long shot, take it so that we can get good people elected to offices at all levels of government, from the local level to the state level to the federal level. I want to just say that I agree with everyone who's been up here speaking about the fact that we are all Democrats. And while we may not agree on every single issue, there is so much that unites us. And that's one of the things I found when I started on this journey over 2 years ago. People said to me, you know, you need to go everywhere in the state. You need to go to the small counties, the medium counties. You can't take any area for granted. And it's one of the things that I did. I came up here, I came to Jacksonville and to St. Augustine and Clay County, and many of the Nassau County, right? I'm looking at Nassau County. And then over on into the Panhandle, and my good friend Joe Snodgrass followed me everywhere in his mobile home, and was incredible. And I have to tell you, in the back there, he has about, how many pictures, Joe? I don't know, but it's like
about 438 on the desk right there.
It's the history of the campaign, and I'm so excited to have that to have as a remembrance of it. But one of the things that bothered me was when media people would say, oh, you're not known anywhere outside of South Florida. And I would say, well, why don't you just come with me on some of these events so that you can see what's going on in the state. And I'm very proud of the fact that, truthfully, the largest percentage of votes that I got, county for county, was not in the large counties. It was in the small counties. Because when you're campaigning in the small counties, it's an entirely different situation than when you're trying to campaign in a city, a Broward, or a Palm Beach County. We believe, you've heard tonight some of the issues that are important to us. We believe in quality public education, from pre-K to higher ed. We believe in ensuring health care that is available and affordable to all people. One of the things I'm going to talk about in a minute is about Medicaid expansion, because it's going to be the #1 issue in the session this year, and everybody has to be on those people in Tallahassee, from the governor to the Senate to the House, because it is morally reprehensible that this state has not taken the money, the federal money that is sitting there and going to other states, because we have not taken our fair share to help people in Florida. Above everything, and Mary Helen mentioned this slightly too, we believe in fairness, in putting the needs of people first. That's what we are known for. And we're known for that whether we live in South Florida, in Central Florida, or in North Florida. Everybody that's a Democrat understands that people are what is important. Whether that's the fairness of choosing who you marry, or the fairness of protecting the rights and dignity of seniors, or the fairness of our elections. We Democrats are always at the front lines fighting to protect our civil rights and liberties for all who call America home. You would think with such a strong and progressive agenda, we Democrats would win every election. and be guiding our nation and state to prosperity on the promise of strong and growing middle class guided by these principles. Yet, it hasn't happened yet. But I emphasize the word yet. While the politics of reality haven't caught up with the politics of money, I'm here to tell you tonight that we are gaining on it, and here tonight is a perfect example of how we are gaining on it. Everyone in this room is a testament to the power that dedicated people can bring to bear on the political process. There is always talk, especially after a losing election, about energizing our base. Well, I believe our base becomes energized when they are part of a vigorous dialogue that provides a forum for ideas and a showcase for candidates. And I believe that fair and open primaries provide exactly that kind of forum. While I believe in the importance of primary elections to allow voters the opportunity to choose their party's nominee, I strongly believe we should add one other component to our electoral process, and that is televised debates. Issues matter, and I believe that issues matter to voters, but you don't see very many issues being aired out there in a 30-second commercial. That's why we need a forum, or better, as I said, a series of televised forums, debates, where candidates can express their views and defend their positions on core issues and current events. That's what energizes the base. Democratic candidates shouldn't hide from Democratic core values. They should be able to articulate them clearly and present them in a way that all voters, Democrats, Republicans, and Independents, can and should want to embrace. Debates can level the playing field, and by doing so, enable voters to decide who they believe is the better candidate and who best reflects their values. I think it's time that we make them permanent and mandatory as a part of our electoral process. To make elections people-driven, not dollar-driven, is going to be a real challenge. This week, I don't know how many of you remember, but this is the 5th anniversary of the terrible Supreme Court decision, Citizens United, which opened the door to millions and millions of dollars in unlimited, anonymous political spending. The flow of money in politics is drowning out voices of working Americans and is eroding our democracy. The reality is that campaigning in Florida is too often reduced to a financial equation. The person with the most money, the person who can buy the most TV time, is the person who the media and the pundits and the political insiders expect to win, and most often they do. But true grassroots can change that. True grassroots, people-to-people campaigns trump a negative TV spot, persuades better than direct mail, and delivers voters to the polls with far more efficiency than a robocall. The people-to-people campaign, traveling to small and northern counties throughout this state, is the part of my campaign that I enjoy the most. And by the way, many of the counties that I mentioned are where I got my best number of votes. But even the grassroots campaign does need money to organize and energize across large and diverse state sections. We must do a better job of engaging all voters, communicating our values and priorities to them. We have a story to tell, and we need to tell it better. Not only in the media, but in one-to-one people campaigns. Tonight may be the first annual Clay County's Blue Gala dinner, but to me, it marks a turning point for you, and I'm sure you feel the same way. To me, this is that time where the tide has turned, that moment when democratic momentum begins to take hold. I believe the Florida voters are poised to reject the decades of social injustice and Republican politics of privilege and move to embrace the values of fairness that you and I as Democrats share. If we stick to our principles and don't look at kind of altering our progressive values, which some people have been wanting us now to do, I think that we can win. And I guess I ask why so many people that I hear talking about the 26th presidential race are asking Elizabeth Warren to run. And I think it's because, and I'm not saying Hillary Clinton is a friend of mine and I've always supported her, but I can understand that people are looking at progressive values. And we need to stand for that in the Democratic Party. Brags about Florida becoming the third most populous state in the nation. And he wants to go around the country and get people to come to Florida. It's too bad that he can't brag about the quality of life and the level of services that we provide to our most vulnerable residents in Florida. That would be something to brag about. But let me tell you, you can look at the list of all human services. From our seniors, where we have the highest waiting list ever for home and community-based care, to a child welfare system that is dysfunctional, where 500 children known to the Department of Children and Families died over the last 5 years. And a little 5-year-old got thrown off the Tampa Bay Bridge a couple of weeks ago, and her father had just been to an attorney with the Department of Children and Families. They had turned down an abuse hotline call, and he was running around in his pajamas. Does anybody think anything's wrong? Yeah, I think so. Early Steps, another program, 0 to 3. We have huge children, numbers of children who they are developmentally delayed. They were born with either autism or cerebral palsy, different kinds of developmental delays. And we are trying to fight to get money for these children. And lastly, as I mentioned, there's Medicaid expansion. And I just, want to say that we have a major problem going on by the fact that we did not take this money. Right now, a number of funding streams, federal and state, are converging at a time when they are all going to go away. The idea was that the Medicaid expansion money from the Affordable Care Act would take over for those funding streams that are going away, like the low-income pool money, $1 billion, disproportionate hospital share money. These are all funds that come into our safety net hospitals around this state to cover charity care. When that money goes away, and we do not take the Medicaid expansion money, our hospitals are going to be in a very, very precarious state. And so will anybody who needs to go there for charity care. So it is time for this legislature and this governor to understand that that is our money, $66 billion of it over the next 10 years, and we need to make sure that we get our fair share. We believe that the test of society, the test of government, is in how it treats its most vulnerable citizens, the young, its elderly, and those in greatest need. We must set the standard of excellence in education, social services, and quality of life for every resident. And I say we because we as Democrats are the only ones that are going to do that. These are core democratic values. These are my values, and I know they're your values. I've spent the last 12 years in the legislature and then 2 years running for governor. And no matter where I end up, whether it's an elected office or appointed to some position, I can tell you that I am going to fight for all of these issues as I have every day in the Florida legislature. And I know that everyone in this room is going to do the same thing with me. Thank you.